Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table podcast with PJ and Mike. Now, please find yourself a seat at their table.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Cool Kids Lunch Table podcast with PJ and Mike. I'm PJ.
And I'm Mike.
And we are back again this week with Matt. If you listened to last week's episode about metal bands, Matt was on that with us, and he's back again this week to talk about wrestling.
Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for having me on again.
This is, like we said, this is about a wrestling episode. And back in the day when we were in like middle school and high school, me and Mike were big wrestling fans.
Yes.
We used to watch like every pay-per-view event.
Yeah, the Attitude Era.
Yeah, the Attitude Era. We would like watch every Monday Night Raw, every Nitro, every SmackDown, all that stuff. I mean, ECW, we were into it. We watched all those shows. So this is a fun episode for us. It's like a throwback.
Yeah, and just to let our audience know, we have Matt back. He was on with us, our best metal bands, and he was sensational. So,
thank you.
Find out more about him.
Yeah.
Matt's a big wrestling guy too.
Yeah.
So. I'm wearing my fuck Bill Goldberg shirt. My pro.
That's what that is.
Yeah, my pro Bret Hart, anti Bill Goldberg shirt.
I make a picture. PJ put a clip in. He's like, "Okay, Bill Goldberg."
Hell yeah, I would have shit those guys and wrestled in Saudi Arabia and each guy got paid $3 million each. Bill Goldberg, who kicked me in the head, never even thought about it. 8 months later, went over to Saudi Arabia, got paid $3 million for a 5 minutes wrestling match, and put all that money in his pocket, but never once thought about costing me $16 million when he kicked me in the head. And so, you know, I regret that I got injured by a guy that couldn't wrestle and has no business of being in a Hall of Fame. You know, he should be in the Hall of Shame.
That
fucking worst wrestler of all time.
I always like when Bret Hart got mad. I think that's when he was at his best.
Yeah,
like when he was.
When he keeps referring to him as Bill Goldberg.
Yeah.
I saw that clip recently. That's so good.
Okay, Bill.
That is funny.
I saw a meme the other day, and completely unrelated. Well, sort of related because it's got Bret Hart in it. It was a picture of like a living room, and there was a TV up against the wall and two chairs next to the TV, and it was like, this is perfect for wrestling watching. And it was the photo of Bret Hart standing to the side of the TV, watching the match.
Right.
You have
Old
to
school
look it up to
wrestling
really
was
get
just
it.
so good.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my my NWO Outsiders shirt.
Yeah, there we go.
Representing. Got Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and X-Pac. Well, 6 back then.
Yeah.
And I got my Stone Cold Steve Austin's "Don't Trust Anybody."
That's the DTA shirt with the skull, with the snake skull.
Snake,
yeah.
always like that. But today's episode, we just talk about our favorite, wrestling moments, And so we also start off with a childhood memory. So, guys, I want to ask you guys, what was the first wrestler that got you into wrestling? Start off with Mr. Matt.
I mean, I feel like growing up being a kid in the late 80s, early 90s, I feel like everybody's intro to wrestling was probably Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
So, looking back, Hulk Hogan is a fucking terrible wrestler. His personality was in, but
in ring.
He 4 moves, maybe.
Punch,
body
big
slam,
boot.
the big boot, the big leg, and then the thing where he shakes his finger at you.
When he hulks up.
Yeah, when he
hulks up.
and that's not even a move. That's just he shakes. But yeah, probably Hulk Hogan and then like Ultimate Warrior.
Yep.
And then eventually like Bret Hart became like my favorite wrestler.
Yeah, I think of my brother with Bret Hart. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I remember. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Hulk Hogan is one of my first wrestling memories. Also, Doink the Clown, and then having little Dink come out from under the ring.
They should bring him back. Like
I think dead. Aren't all 3 of them dead?
Man.
He might
I'm
be
sure
dead.
like to get someone.
They could put anybody in that
costume.
costume.
Like a skin, but he was a great villain, man.
He was great.
His voice, the demonic clown.
And it was like the happy clown music, and then it became like the sad, like creepy music when he came walking out.
I think his finishing move was a whoopee cushion, right? Or something
like that.
It was funny, man. I think for me, it was, of course, Hulk Hogan. I think of Razor Ramon too. Like he was just man,
iconic.
Iconic,
yeah,
right?
I used to be afraid of him. I'll get into one of my favorite moments with him, but You know, I just remember him being so big, like his chest and his shoulders.
Gigantic.
Like, oh my God, it's just huge.
And here's how great he is. I fully believed that he was like,
Yeah, like a dude from
Cuba.
Yeah, Cuban dude
Totally
who lived
believed
in
it.
Miami.
yeah,
Yeah.
thought that was a real accent
Yeah.
as a kid. Yeah, absolutely. I have another childhood memory about wrestling that involves Mike and his head.
Oh yeah, right.
We were at a friend's house. I don't remember which pay-per-view we were watching.
I don't know. Yep, we were watching.
But we were like wrestling in like the living room, and we probably shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
And Mike's back of Mike's head went like straight into the corner of a glass metal mirrored table.
Yeah.
And just blood everywhere. I remember that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember we were like play wrestling,
Right.
and I just fell backwards, to
Yeah.
act it out. I remember it was like boom, and then I went like everyone like stopped dead. I'm like, I think I'm all right. And I put my hand, at the back of my head. I'm like, oh boy.
And now they just do that shit at real wrestling
Yeah,
shows.
yeah.
and
Exactly.
Smashing mirrors
So-
and light tubes on their
And
fucking
I still
heads.
got the scar, man. I
You still got the scar.
from that. But actually, real quick, what other childhood memory? You guys remember like obviously wrestling toys? I know
Yeah.
they had like the one with the rings and all that. But you remember the ones that were like made out of rubber? And
Yeah.
you could like
Yes.
stick your fingers like in their ass, almost like you know what I mean? You could like
I
go, like,
forgot about those,
rah,
yeah.
rah, like that.
I used to have
yeah.
all those wrestling toys, man. I used to love. Had the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had when they had like the ones that had the moves where like
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan had the bear hug or
Yep.
whatever the fuck it was. I had two of those. I had the regular blue ring, and then they had the yellow King
Yes.
of the Ring.
Yep.
And I had both of those. And yeah, I had all those like old rubber figures,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
The big
like
ones,
the
yeah.
12-inch figures or whatever they were. It's
I
so
had a
many
Ted
of those.
Arcidi at my desk. Remember, I used to have that at my
I think you
desk
gave
where-
it to me.
I think I did give it to you.
Along with like an autographed Scott Steiner
Yeah.
photo or some shit like that, I think.
So, and then also there was like a break in between me watching wrestling in like the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Then I took like, I don't know, I kind of fell out of it for a while. And then I remember getting back into it because of Stone Cold.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
Monday
yeah.
Night
He's-
Wars was
yep.
big.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, I don't remember. Like, I don't remember falling out of it, but I must have because there was some sort of, and I don't even remember how I got back into it. It was probably Stone Cold, but I don't know how I started watching it because of that or whatever. But yeah, when Stone Cold came around, that
Yeah, that was like-
changed.
yeah,
that
he
like
was like
crazy.
that brought wrestling back.
It was
to,
Yeah.
just the right person at like the right time. Because even
Right.
like if it was just The Rock, I don't think The Rock could have
yeah, you needed-
revitalized.
Yeah, it was
needed
it was the
Stone
two
Cold.
of them to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was just he was like he was a heel, but
He was just
you
so
couldn't
awesome.
help but yeah, he was
Yeah.
so good on the mic
Yeah.
that you couldn't help but
Yeah.
cheer for him.
And that glass breaking was just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you would blow the roof off arenas as soon as you heard that glass break. Everyone just flipped
Yeah, the
out.
whole
Yeah.
place
It
would
was-
stand up and go
was
Yeah,
insane.
that was like pandemonium.
Yeah, it really was.
Nuts. But what, Matt, start us off. What's like one of your favorite wrestling moments?
So I mean, one that comes to mind, iconic match. We're talking about Razor Ramon, the first, or really any of the ladder matches
Him
with
and Shawn
Shawn
Michaels.
Michaels
Yes.
and Razor Ramon. Just Scott Hall was a big dude.
Oh my god.
You know, and to like see him like climbing, jumping off the ladder and stuff like that, and just iconic. It's that's like ingrained in my. What was that, WrestleMania 10? Was that the
was
first
10,
one?
I think.
Or was it a
There
SummerSlam?
was there was two.
I think
there was a
the
SummerSlam.
first one was a SummerSlam. I think, if I'm not
Was
mistaken.
that the one when Shawn Michaels came back as he claimed to be the real Intercontinental Champion because he never lost it, he got hurt or whatever?
I
something
yeah,
like
I
that?
think that's how it started because
Yeah.
Razor Ramon was the
new-
champion at
yeah.
the time, so it was like the once and for all.
Right.
But yeah, any of those matches with him and Shawn Michaels, just
Click.
yeah,
Just-
unbelievable.
Just hit like when he used to do the Razor's Edge. Just like he used to put big guys on his shoulders.
Yeah.
And that's
I just would
Crazy
think like
strength.
all they had to do was not fall the right way, and they're
dead.
paralyzed. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's insane.
some of those
What an
moves are, like,
insane move
anxiety,
that was.
man. Oof. Yeah, that's one of them though.
That was,
Jesus.
and he was always one of my favorites. That's why he's on my shirt today. Is Scott Hall? He was just like a larger than life character, like just so
Yeah.
easy to like root for him and like
Yeah.
or cheer or boo him. Like either way, like he could get you to react any way he wanted to. Some people are like, you can't help but cheer for them, or you can't help but boo with them, no matter what. Scott Hall was great. He could play his character so that you would like anyway. He could play the audience. He was
Right.
great.
Exactly. Yeah.
He
for
was
sure.
really, really good. One of my earlier favorite wrestling memories is so stupid. It's just so stupid. It's when Papa Shango got Ultimate Warrior to like throw up at
I
the
remember
side
that.
of the
That
ring.
scared the shit out of me
As
when
a
I was like
kid,
fucking 9 years old or 10
as a
years
kid,
old.
I'm like, oh, he's using his voodoo. He's making him throw up everywhere.
Right.
And you watch it now, it's so incredibly stupid, but
Yeah.
I love it.
Right. That's a good one.
I mean, because that character, like, you can't get away with that now, like goofy characters, like
Yeah.
where it's a voodoo guy.
Yeah, like looking back, it was goofy as shit. But
Oh,
when,
yeah.
when you're 9,
Yeah,
10
it makes-
years old,
right.
it's like,
like-
oh my
like-
god,
It's
this
like, this
guy.
guy's got powers.
Yeah, he's got bones around his
Yeah.
neck, and he's all tattooed up and skull face paint. It's terrifying.
And then, like, years later, he becomes the Godfather, and I had no idea
Me neither.
that it's the same guy
No
at
way.
all. I was like, no, it can't be.
Yeah.
There's just no way, and it is, but you just never realize it as a kid. When
Two polar opposite
Yeah.
characters.
And there are some people that like change characters and they look exactly this. It's the same human,
Yeah.
and I still can't figure out that it's
Yeah.
not a different guy. That's how talented they are at their acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for mine, actually, I looked up the exact date. I remember I remember watching this on TV, Monday Night Raw, and like, I remember just jumping in my bedroom, like I was just I couldn't believe it. It's September 28th is when Stone Cold came out in the Zamboni.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, dude, that was like, I'm getting chills right now. That was just unbelievable. And I just wrote here, like, it was like, that was like a special time. I think with the Attitude Era was so special. It felt like, it made it felt real. You know what I mean? I knew at that age, like, wrestling was, fake. But like, part of me felt like, maybe they really don't like each other. And they're just
Right.
doing this as like a part, like, they really hate each other. And like, they're just sucking it up just to get along with the
Right.
show. But I really felt like anything could happen any night. I felt like everything felt off, like non-scripted. If everything felt like I said, just anything can happen. It felt like they just went out there, like, all right, go here, we're doing the show.
Yeah. Do what you want.
Yeah,
And then like
just-
such a great angle to have like Vince McMahon be the
the
bad
bad
guy.
guy.
Like
Yep.
he's not a wrestler, but he was such a good villain.
yeah,
Like
yes.
like him and Stone Cold, that rivalry lasted for years.
that was
and it was so
good.
Yeah,
Even like Vince McMahon wrestling him in like a steel cage match, like it was always so good.
And then Big Show debuting in the cage
Yeah.
match and throwing Austin through the cage. and
yeah.
It's just so good. Wrestling's not as good anymore because they don't do shit like that.
Oh no way.
He came up from the ring, right?
From
like
the
he ripped
ring,
a hole
yeah.
in the ring.
And then he just picked up Stone Cold and threw him through the cage, and he caused Vince to lose because Austin his feet hit the floor because he went through the cage.
Right.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good because that was 1,000 years ago, and we can remember every second of it.
Right.
yeah. Oh my god, that was probably like
St.
1998,
Valentine's Day
right?
Massacre, yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, I think he also had like another. I think it was almost on Raw, but he had to do it with one hand behind
Yes,
his back.
yes.
Yeah.
That was like that was, man, what a special time. Matt, what do you got up?
So to just piggyback off of you were talking about Papa Shango, the next memory that I have is it's WrestleMania 8 at the Hoosier Dome. Was that at the Hoosier Dome in
Might have been,
Indianapolis?
yeah.
So it was Hulk Hogan versus Sid Justice. I
Yes,
guess
he was
in
Sid
WWF.
Justice at the time.
Justice is another big dude.
Yeah,
another big
dude.
He's like
Also
Scott Hall.
just the worst on the
worst.
mic.
Right.
That clip where he's talking and he fucks up and he says, "Let's do it over." And Mean Gene's like, "We're live, pal. Like what are you doing? Like
Oh my God.
we're not pre-recording this."
Oh my God. Right.
But it was Hulk Hogan versus Sid Justice, and Papa Shango came out and was like fucking him up or whatever, and then Ultimate Warrior came back. He
Yes.
was like out for however
Right.
long at that time, and his music hit, and he just came running down the aisle. Was like
It's like 10
like
miles
a half
long.
a mile long, and he's
Right.
just running, and he just comes in and just cleans house. And I remember that as like so WrestleMania 8. That I was probably 9 years old, just losing my fucking mind because we used to have. We had the illegal cable box.
Right.
yeah.
So like
yeah.
we always, my friends in school would always come over for the pay-per-views, and I would record them and whatever. And we were all just going absolutely batshit when he came out.
My face is like hurting from smiling right now.
But
The way
it's
you
just
tell
all
me that,
so
I just
fun
think,
because I
like,
remember all of
Oh
it.
my
Yeah.
God.
That was a good one.
That Sid Justice thing's pretty funny though.
Yeah, look up that clip
Yeah.
if you haven't seen it.
Oh my God.
I mean, there's when he breaks his leg fighting
Oh my
Scott
God.
Steiner.
That's just
That's
vomit-inducing.
brutal.
It's
yeah,
tough
that,
to
just
watch.
thinking about that is ugh. And then I think like Animal was supposed to make his debut as like
Yeah.
like and he just had to come in and just like
Tap him.
kick him a
Yeah, he
couple
couldn't really
times.
do
like, 'cause
anything.
They couldn't do anything.
Wow.
Oh my god, fucking Sid Justice, Sid Vicious.
Psycho Sid.
Yeah.
How many names did this guy have? But he never changed to
was
Sid.
always Sid.
It's always Sid.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Scott Steiner, and another great wrestling moment. Any Scott Steiner moment is just gold because he's a maniac.
Yeah.
But Steiner math is
Iconic.
Iconic. It's
And you do it, and it's like the math checks out. He's not like talking shit. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like,
kinda
like
makes sense.
1/3. It's 33 and a
30
third.
yeah.
Cut that in half.
Half
Like,
it.
holy shit.
I got a 33 and a third % chance of winning, but I'm twice the man.
So that's 66.6.
Like,
Oh my
what is
God,
going
he's-
on?
And it's like, did he really like sit there and do all this math?
I
Or
think he just did it off the
is
top
he
of
some
his head.
kind
He's
of
just
genius?
crazy.
That's amazing.
But that whole promo is just so ridiculous. Normally, you got a 50% chance of winning any match, but this is a triple threat, so you got a 33 and a third % chance. But I'm twice the man of. But I forget who was even going against. Like Petey Williams
that was
or
like
something.
TNA era,
Yeah.
right, or whatever.
But I'm twice the man, so I got a 66% chance, and he's half of the man I am, so he's only got a 15. And it just goes on for so long, and you're listening, you're like, what a lunatic this guy is. But it's so memorable. It's so memorable, and that's all that matters, because how many years later we can recall that moment. That's why he's a star.
And then
because
what's
he can
also
give you
crazy,
that moment.
you go back and you watch like old like Steiner Brothers match, and it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, he's actually a really good wrestler.
Oh, he's great.
Oh, yeah.
And
The
then,
Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the tag team moves that they
Oh,
did, they
so
were
good.
unbelievable.
They really
you
were.
kind of forget how great of a wrestler he was
How
because
much
of
of a
how he
maniac.
was on the mic and how crazy he actually was in real life.
Yeah.
Holler if you hear me.
I remember when he stopped being part of the tag team. He like joined the NWO, and he was like the first time he was like a singles wrestler, and he was always like a big guy. He was never small.
Yeah.
But he came out as like Big Papa Pump with Buff Bagwell, and you're like, how much steroids?
I remember he had that. He looked like a tennis ball on top of his
Yeah.
Yeah, he
head.
had like a
He used to
muscles
kiss
on
it.
top
Remember
of
that? He used to
muscles.
kiss
They
that
used to
little,
call
like-
it like the peaks.
Yeah.
Right. That was
Unbelievable.
nuts, man. But he was good though. Like
He
I
was
still
great.
like talk about attitude, man. Like
He
attitude
had
era,
it.
He was just like I said. I feel like he was like a nut. Like
He was
it
just
like,
crazy.
The way he came out, like this is like that was unbelievable.
For all the freaks out there,
yeah.
Big Papa Pump is your hookup.
holler if you hear me.
He
was
came out with like a
great.
chainmail or something.
Yes, on his
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I like this finishing move. That was
The Steiner
brutal.
recliner?
Yeah, that
He
was.
had the
Yeah.
Steiner recliner, the Frankensteiner, what was the other Steiner screwdriver?
Yeah.
He was great. His brother, I mean, Rick Steiner was all right. I have no issues.
They were
with
great
Rick.
as a tag team. Like, he didn't translate to a singles
Single- no,
wrestler.
not
at all.
He very, very much was reliant on his
Scott,
brother.
yeah.
Yeah. I think my next one. I remember like. All right, so I looked it up. So this guy came out in '97, which is like mind blowing when this guy debuted. But I remember like the build up to this was when Kane came out. For the
Oh my
first-
God!
Oh,
yes.
I remember like crapping my pants. I was like, oh my God, like he was like the devil.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like at this point, like Undertaker was like the man. He always was. But like when he went up against like Yokozuna or whatever or Shawn Michaels, like these were like great adversaries. But like when Kane came, I felt like, oh my God,
Like
he
this guy
met-
can match him.
he can
Yeah.
he was just as big.
Yeah.
Like Paul Bear come up, go, oh, like he would be like, and he just looked like he's very Michael Myers
Yeah.
type esque.
Yeah,
like,
and talk.
mask was
just,
great.
Yeah.
yeah, and it was just like, oh my God, what a foe against and like I remember being a kid. I was like, oh my God, it was
Yeah,
like
he
frightening.
was scary.
Yeah.
And I remember Vince was the announcer. That was what was it? Bad Blood or something like
Yes,
that? When it was
wow,
in
I
the
had
Hell
to
in a
wrote that
Cell.
down. PJ, you
It was
son
the,
of a gun.
It was
Yeah.
the Bad Blood. It was that like the first
Yeah.
Hell in a Cell match, and McMahon just. That's gotta be Kane.
Yeah.
And he rips the door off the hinges, and
Yeah.
Undertaker just looks like he's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
scared shitless because he's like seeing a ghost because he thinks his
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah,
is
it's supposed
Dead
to be
brother.
his dead
Yeah.
brother
Yeah.
who
who
died,
died
in
in
the
the fire that Undertaker set.
Yeah, and he looks
It's like,
yeah,
Jesus
exactly.
Christ, how are you not in jail, bro?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?
So he lit the fire because he was upset that he had a brother or something like that.
Yeah, I don't,
like
yeah,
it was
I don't
straight up
remember the
murder.
backstory. Yeah, it was premeditated murder.
But all that story made it such a build up.
Yeah.
And when he came out, like you said, I think he gave Taker the tombstone.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Taker ain't no small dude, man.
No.
So
Yeah.
to see him get manhandled like that, go whoop, that
And
was
Kane's
like.
tombstone was a sick tombstone. It was faster than the Undertaker. So like when he did it, you're like, oh shit, he just spiked that dude's head into the ground.
Yeah,
he
right,
just killed
yeah.
Undertaker. That's a good moment. That's one
I
of the
always
best
loved
wrestling
when Kane gave. I always loved his choke
Choke
slam
slam.
more
Yeah,
than
because it was very, he
yeah,
like
very like
rare,
Yeah, he
came
grabbed
back
it.
and like really grabbed you by
yeah,
the fucking
best
throat.
choke slams, man. The best.
And I liked he couldn't feel pain. That was just part of his
Yeah,
character.
he had
Yeah,
that voice
yeah,
thing,
the
too.
voice
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
Remember when he joined X-Pac and they were like
Yeah,
the
they're like
weirdest
buddies.
tag team in the history
But
of
it
the
kind of
world?
worked in a weird
Yeah.
way. He was like a dog,
Like a rabid, just like
yeah,
pit
and
bull
he like
that
tamed
X-Pac
him.
was sick on people.
You know what I mean? And like kind of stuff.
I always wanted Kane to wear green when he was with X-Pac. Like,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think everyone
Just
Yeah.
to fit the.
And then, like, just the random shit they would have that guy do. But he was like, if I lose, he's got his voice box in. He's
Yeah.
like, I will set myself on fire.
Right.
Like, this
Like, oh
guy's
my
going to
God.
set himself on fire in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
And then, like, he comes out in that match or whatever. Like, it was the first blood match. If he lost the first blood match
Yeah.
at King of the Ring to Austin, he was going to set himself on fire. And you're like, this motherfucker, there's no way Stone Cold's going to
Yeah.
lose to anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Kane's going to light himself on fire. I got to watch this. It
But
was
then at the
just-
same time, it's like this dude's wearing a mask. How are you gonna know if he's bleeding?
Yeah.
Right, right.
Like, all he has is
Right.
an arm exposed. Like, what are you going to
Right.
paper cut this guy?
Yeah.
Stab him on the
Yeah.
shoulder or
And
something.
you said with Vince McMahon, I actually always used to hate when he used to commentate.
Oh, he was awful.
And I remember when Kane, he'd be like, "Oh my God, it's Kane!" Like it was just like, oh, like
He was
talk
an
about-
awful commentator.
Jeez, cringe. Man, but yeah, that was really
That
like,
was great.
Shit in your pants moments. Matt, what's your next one?
So next one is probably in my childhood was probably the biggest heel turn ever. It was when Shawn Michaels turned
yeah.
on Marty Jannetty
Wow.
Yes.
in the barbershop.
Right through a barbershop
Wow.
mirror.
Kicked him and hit him with the super
Wow.
kick, and then he threw him through the plate glass
Yeah.
window.
The window, that's right.
Wow.
And like in my whenever that was, however old I was, all I wanted was like Marty Jannetty to come back and like he was gonna kick the shit out of Shawn Michaels, and then like
That
it
never
never happened.
happened.
And he talked about how hot his daughter was or whatever now, and
Some-
it's
some weird
super
shit.
creepy.
Right.
That
but-
behind
wow.
the that
But
dark
that
side
was-
of the ring with Marty
Wow.
Jannetty is
I
wild.
don't think I've seen that one. Is that like the most? That was the fourth season.
That was on this most recent
Okay,
season.
I haven't watched
wild.
any of that yet. But yeah, like I remember, 8 years old, 9 years old, or whatever, and it's just like, how could you do that, Sean? And then like to see him just catapult to the
Yeah.
superstar that he became, it was like, yeah,
And
Right.
then Marty Jannetty wound up teaming with Al Snow as the New Rockers.
I think so. Probably
Wow.
some shit like that.
Like he just went nowhere. They tried to recapture that Rockers energy with
Yeah.
Al Snow.
Jesus.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure it was Al Snow.
Yeah,
Right.
you might be right.
But he wasn't Al Snow,
He
he
was
was
Leif Erikson.
Yeah, something
Was
like
it-
that.
No, Leif
Leif
Erikson is
Garrett?
a real guy. Yeah, he was Leif something.
He
I
was
think
Leif
Leif
something.
Erikson is a real
Yeah,
person.
Leif Garrett might be a real guy. He was Leif something.
I think both of those are real people, and we're just assuming that they're wrestlers. I think Leif Garrett is like a pop singer. or
Yeah, I was
something
about
like
to
that.
say, yeah.
Right?
He was
Yeah.
Leif
I
something.
think Leif Erikson is like a famous like explorer or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
And he was
Or a
definitely
Viking or
Leif
something.
Cassidy.
Leif Cassidy. Yes, that was it.
That's
Wow, damn.
Yes, I remember that now.
Yes.
The New Rockers.
Yes.
Ugh. Yuck.
Ooh.
that
that
was
was a
that was
bad
a
one.
rough time.
That
for
was
wrestling.
a rough one. I'll tell you what. My next one is the biggest heel turn I can ever remember. Is Hulk Hogan being the
That was
third
my
man.
next
Yeah,
one,
I mean,
you
yeah.
bastard. Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, just
that's probably the biggest heel
heel
turn
turn
of
in
all
the history of
time.
the world.
No one
God.
saw
No
that
one's-
coming.
No,
That
just,
was
like, I get-
awesome, though.
Like
yeah,
chills just
watching
thinking
it.
about that.
You fans can stick it, brother. It's the new world order of wrestling, and it changed wrestling. Forever.
Yeah.
For life.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
just really.
I think that made WCW like legit.
It did.
Like,
And-
like you had
and
Stone
that-
Cold, and you had that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And talking about how like you knew wrestling was fake but thought something was real.
Yes.
When Scott,
Scott
Hall
Hall
just
shows up.
showing up
Yep.
in like jeans.
Yes, exactly.
And
Yeah.
like just causing shit, and then
Yeah.
Kevin Nash.
It just
it's
feels
like,
so
oh my god,
real.
like are these dudes really
Yeah,
like interfering with
Exactly.
with this? Like
exactly.
it's crazy.
Like genius, man.
Yeah.
But, yeah, but when Hogan did that, man, that was I remember him like walking very slow to the ring.
Right.
and,
you
and
know?
everybody's like,
Everyone's
yeah,
like,
here they
yeah, Hogan's
come."
gonna save everybody. He's gonna save Macho
And then just
Man.
that bounce off the ropes and,
And
the
he
leg drop,
Yeah.
and just everybody,
It was like it was just like
and just all the
garbage
just
getting
Yeah, I
getting
thrown
remember
thrown
that.
in the ring.
Yeah.
oh man, it was so good.
But I give him credit for not like bailing out like even afterwards,
Yeah.
like a week later. Like he
Yeah.
stuck
he
it
stuck
through.
with it, and it was
You
the
know?
best run of his entire career.
Really
Yeah.
was, yeah, like that.
Yeah.
That like rejuvenated
Yeah.
his career because at that time, like,
Yeah.
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 Just
Hulk-
the idea of
Hulk Hogan in
spray painting
WCW
on the
was-
belt to the NWO,
Yeah.
like
So cool.
so cool.
Just yeah. Oh yeah. It just then he came out to like Hendrix now.
Yeah.
I used to like when he played the
Yeah.
guitar.
yeah,
and he had the
yes.
dyed like
beard.
5 o'clock. It wasn't even a beard. It was like a 5 o'clock shadow.
But black.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just
So-
like, oh man, it was
so
so
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, that was
just so cool.
Nash lawn darts Rey Mysterio into like a wall or whatever it was. It's
Right.
just crazy.
And I just real quick, I think I know it was one of those documentaries. They were just talking about that whole thing where like Kevin Nash was saying like he used to wear a headband that was
Yeah.
really inspired by Tupac.
Yep.
And they were saying like Eric Bischoff used to get mad because people used to sell fake T-shirts in the
Yeah.
parking lot with NWO, and he would be like, "No, let them sell it. It's helping us. It's
Right.
It's actually a good
Yeah, it's like
thing."
expanding the brand. Yeah.
And then it was like you would see it on Raw.
Yep.
It was like a wow. I mean, but yeah, Hogan, like you said, man, doing that.
It's
Damn.
just wild.
Yeah.
It took my neck. That was my one, PJ.
That was gonna be one of mine too.
You know what? Real quick with that match though, I didn't realize it was like a 3-on-2.
3-on-3,
right?
yeah.
But you know who the third guy was.
Right.
That was the thing. But
Yeah, there was like the mystery
The
partner.
mystery third
and
partner.
Yeah.
Right.
Alex, this isn't later on. We have a pop quiz between Matt and PJ. But I'm just curious. Do you guys know who? I guess NWO had a fight. The 3 other guys they had a fight.
It was Sting,
Macho Man.
Macho Man, and I want to say it was Luger.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Okay.
I knew Sting and Macho Man. I couldn't remember who the third
Nice.
was, but
and
yeah.
all those dudes end up becoming maybe
The
except for
NWO.
Sting. Yeah.
Well, Luger became part of the NWO, but he was in the Wolf Pack, and Sting joined the Wolf Pack also.
Right.
Yeah, and he had the
Right.
red face
The red
paint.
face.
Yeah.
What a cool, also like a character change for him when
Oh,
he
when he went
went
like
from
Silver
like
Sting.
the bleach blonde,
Yeah.
Yeah, I hated it
neon
when he
makeup.
was like that. We became basically
Me
the
too.
Crow.
And I think
you know?
I think Scott Hall was the one apparently
Yeah.
that told him like,
Like,
yo,
you
you
should
seen
be
the
the Crow.
Crow? Like just do
Do that
that.
instead.
Yep.
And that was great when you
Iconic.
watch him in the rafters, just like looking all creepy.
Didn't say shit.
Nothing.
Yep,
Just-
it worked.
Would
Just
point at them with the bat, and that was
Yeah.
it. Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
yeah.
Yep.
So cool.
I guess my next moment was I remember as a kid I loved the 1-2-3 Kid.
Yeah.
And when he beat Razor Ramon,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I remember my brother and I were like cheering because like even though we like Razor Ramon at the same time we were like afraid of him.
Right.
Like, hey, don't bully the 1-2-3 Kid.
Yeah.
And then when he beat him, that was like, oh my god, so triumphant. I mean, it was like
That was on the
David
first
versus-
Raw, I think, too. Wasn't it like
It was
the first
one of
Raw
the early ones. It was
Yeah.
when they were still doing it like
Yeah.
the Manhattan
And
Center.
that was
Yeah.
just like a, I remember that was like a big deal for me and my brother. He later on became X-Pac and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And,
The only thing I remember the very first Raw. I remember one match. It was Yokozuna versus Coco Beware.
Yes.
And Yokozuna
Wow.
just crushed him because of
Of
course
course.
he did. Like,
Yeah.
were they not going to put Coco Beware over like that? The Birdman.
right.
I was convinced, speaking of Yokozuna, that dude was from Japan.
Yeah.
I never would have said he was Samoan. He
Yeah,
was
no,
Japanese.
yeah.
Yep.
I still don't think he's actually
Yeah,
Samoan.
no.
I'm still pretty sure he's
Yeah.
Japanese.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he's absolutely not. He's
Yeah, but he-
100% Samoan.
Yeah. Yeah. I just something real quick with that because I thought of X-Pac. I thought it was really funny when we talk about like, is this really real? Remember when DX came with an army tank
and they invaded
Yeah.
Nitro?
I mean, that was like
That was great.
That was like
Yeah.
surreal.
It really
I remember
was.
watching this. I was like, what that? Like, it was just like it was unbelievable. It was just and it was
yeah.
hilarious too.
It was great.
And wrestling was very funny back then.
Road Dogg
That
had
was
like a stupid like he had wearing the helmet had like a leaves on top to like look like camouflage or something.
Did someone have a bazooka?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so stupid, but it was so funny.
Yeah. What a great, one of the greatest factions of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Undeniable.
My God. Hilarious, man.
I mean, I like the original DX when it was Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and they would do some wild stuff. But it was so much better when we got the Outlaws and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was so funny. I think the Outlaws are my favorite tag team of all time.
yeah, they were
they're
hilarious.
up there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
at least of that era, the
Oh,
best
yeah.
of that era,
Oh,
without
absolutely.
a doubt. Without a doubt.
And just having Triple H go like, the millions of let's get rid of
Yeah,
this
let's
like
fucking
that.
do it,
I still laugh at
It's
that.
so
I mean, that
funny
was
because they
just-
still do it, which is even
Yeah.
better. These guys are in like their 50s and 60s.
Oh
They
my
still-
God, this
Let's get rid of him.
that time period was also the funniest. And they had some.
How many kids were getting
stuff.
detention for
So many.
telling their
everyone was
teacher to
doing it.
suck
Yeah,
it?
everyone was telling everyone to suck it. Didn't they at one point like you had to turn the shirt inside out at
Yes,
school if you had a
yeah.
suck it shirt?
Yeah,
You couldn't
yeah.
wear the DX 2-word suck it shirt.
Right. That was
Uh,
sensational. Matt, what's your next pick?
So my next one, it's not really an iconic moment. It's just a really fucking
Yeah.
stupid moment that is ingrained in my head. And I had to look up what year it was. It was 1995, the Royal Rumble, and word for word, I remember this entrance and exit. It was the tag team Men on a Mission, It was
Wow.
Mo and Mabel, and then the manager. I don't remember what his name was, but it was Mo from Men on a Mission, and he comes down to the ring, and this is exactly word for word what they said. It's Jerry Lawler and Vince McMahon, and Jerry Lawler says, "Oh no, it's Mo," and Vince McMahon says, "It's Mo from Men on a Mission," and then Jerry Lawler just goes, "Look out, Mo!" And he gets thrown out of the ring in 3 seconds. He just comes running in, and he goes, and just hearing Jerry Lawler say, "Look out, Mo!" And then he just laughs hysterically. That's maybe my favorite wrestling moment of all time. It's so stupid, but it's the funniest thing I've ever seen on wrestling.
There's just so many good moments like that. Because and they're right. They're all like the stupid moments, but they're so entertaining. You can't help but love it. I like the beer bath and the milk bath. Those are so good when he brings the beer truck and he just starts spraying people down
That
with
was
beer.
big too, man. That was really like
so
pandemonium.
Good. All of those Stone Cold moments.
And he
beer
drives
truck
like
is
into the ring and he like
just
hits
crashes
the ring
it.
and the ring
Oh,
like
my
shakes.
God.
Or when he put the cement, he drives the cement truck. That was at the Coliseum. He drives the cement truck and ruins McMahon's car.
Yep.
And like as a kid, you watch, you're like, is that really his car that he just fucked up? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But and that was like, I think it was at that show because that was at the Coliseum. Like,
Yeah.
all the ridiculous vehicles that they had Stone Cold drive, Mack trucks, like beer trucks, the Zamboni, like you mentioned, all those wild things. But then when he becomes a heel, he eventually turns heel Austin,
Right.
and the good guy, the face is now Kurt Angle, and he flips it around with the milk truck. It's one of my
Right.
favorite things.
Right.
And Kurt Angle's on top of the milk truck, and he's doing the beer and everything, but he's doing it with cartons of milk instead of cans of beer. Kurt Angle's just so great.
He's another great, fantastic wrestler.
I just remember him on top of the truck, and he's like, toast the milk, and he's got, and I'm
Shut like Stone Cold with the
Milk.
beers. Yes.
Yeah.
It was just so funny, and I'm sitting there thinking I would be shitting my pants with all that milk.
Yeah,
There's no way I could tolerate all that
Yeah.
dairy.
Yeah.
Diarrhea in my pants
Yep.
immediately.
Speaking of Steve Austin, I think when he won his first title against Shawn Michaels.
At WrestleMania 14.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when Tyson was ref, that was sick, man.
That was in Boston, and I remember they had a show like, and not a show, like an outdoor promotional event, like right outside before it, and like Shawn Michaels was in the ring, and Tyson was supposed to like come out, but then he didn't show up or something.
Yeah,
but then at
yeah.
the last minute he does come out, and then Austin shows up, and it's like this whole big thing, and it felt so real and authentic, and it wasn't,
Right.
But it felt
That's
like
what I was saying. Like that was like that thing where it was like, what is this? It was like very blurred lines. It was like that's what made it so special too. And I want to talk about WrestleMania 15 was when Rock versus Austin. If I had that right.
The first
All
one.
I can say is with that, I think that's one of the biggest, bestest build-ups ever. And like I just remember those promos where they would play Limp Bizkit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like during commercial breaks, or whatever. Like wow. And actually Mankind was the referee. In that. But which was always special. He had Tyson as referee, but. I think Earl Hebner came out, right? I think, or he had him out or something like that to like drink beers.
I think what wound up happening was you get knocked out and like someone else runs in, and all the refs getting knocked out all the time is always my favorite.
Yeah, but I just remember like that Limp Bizkit. PJ, play it.
I'll play Limp Bizkit. Yeah, we'll play.
It's just one of those days where you don't want to wake up.
But I don't know, man. It just hit that stunner and like I don't know, man. Just magic, man.
I
Just
also
really that
remember.
pandemonium.
I think it was WrestleMania 15 for that match. JR had a stroke or Bell's palsy or whatever, and he wasn't commentating for a long time. But Stone Cold wanted him to call the match.
Yep.
And so he was like the announcer for that match. He was just that one match, the main event, because Stone Cold wanted him to like call that match.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But imagine being like Michael Cole, whoever was like replacing him at that time.
It's funny you said that, PJ, because I just wrote down now how important Jerry Lawler and JR were to the they
really
gave,
iconic broadcast, if you will.
They were. No one's ever gonna top them. They made it even more real with him flipping out. You had Jerry was hilarious, laughing his own. He was also kind of like perverted and dirty.
Yeah.
The only team that I could think of that's like is Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan.
Yeah,
Bobby
yeah.
Heenan is
great.
you know.
Right, agreed. But yeah, those
Or
two-
Jesse Ventura, he was all right too.
Yeah, Jesse Ventura was good as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But
But
yeah.
he was also usually he was around with Monsoon.
He was around with Gorilla.
Monsoon because
Yeah.
I remember him saying that
Yeah.
in his Jesse Ventura voice.
But yeah, those two just made the matches so much more like special. You know?
Yeah, because they had they put their own personalities
Yeah.
into
it
it.
just felt
How
so,
like JR always Lawler, would always like root for the heel.
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
he would also be funny
Puppies?
about it and
Yeah.
like whatever. Yeah.
I would always like puppies,
Yeah.
and he would shit
Yeah,
when the girls would come out.
Yeah.
He was great.
And Jay always gets it's like, that's enough, or he just came out with the cerebral assassin,
Cerebral-
all
yeah.
these, the rattlesnake.
Yeah.
That was all him. These things that just came out of the blue.
I forget.
Stomping a mud hole and walking
walking
it
it
dry.
Yeah,
What he would call the $1 billion princess. I think that was for Stephanie McMahon.
Slobber knockers.
Yeah.
yeah. Just wow, just special, man.
But you know who was a great commentary team to go alongside of them was Taz and Michael Cole.
I did
Yeah.
like Taz a lot.
I like Taz a lot. It's a Donnybrook, a P6er.
I liked
Instead
him,
of
and
yelling
I liked-
slobber knocker, he had his own.
Yeah, I like
word.
Taz a lot. I also like Booker T as a color commentary too.
He's not bad.
I never liked Michael Cole when he had to do like Sunday Night Heat. Like kind of. I guess I gave JR with the night off, but I always kind of dreaded it. I think now he's just
Michael Cole's actually a really good announcer now. But in the beginning, he was like, just please put the other two
It's
back.
because they kind of gave him like a personality.
Yeah.
Something, like he became kind of like a heel,
Yeah.
right, or something like that. This
Yeah,
is
for a
all,
while, he was
It was
like-
after I kind of faded out of wrestling.
But he's much better now, where he's like one of the best that they if you listen to him
Right.
call the matches. But back then, it was like
listen
him and
to-
Kevin Kelly.
Well,
Right,
so,
yeah.
right. I know there's that one clip that makes my skin crawl. It was like I don't know what the match was, but someone gets thrown off the cage like Mankind. He's like, "Oh my God, what in the Mankind?" I was like, "Dude, yeah, I don't know,
Yeah.
Michael Cole, man, I don't know."
Another one of my favorite Jerry Lawler things is the Hell in a Cell when Mankind got thrown off the top.
Yeah.
When he goes through the second time.
Yeah.
Through the top and falls into the ring, and Jerry Lawler just goes, "That's it, he's dead." Like, it's so good. It's
really-
so
that is
good
funny, yeah.
because like I don't think he was supposed to go through
No,
the
he
cage.
wasn't
like, that
supposed
wasn't- And just the reaction. That's it, he's
He's
dead.
dead.
That's it. Like it's perfect.
That was a crazy match. That
that was
match,
Like a match
Unbelievable.
like that would never happen to that kind
No,
of.
they'll
Like,
never do that
Now
again.
there's stunts now. You
But
can
it's-
feel it, but it's more like you're watching like a stunt show, like a Universal
Yeah.
Studios. Or,
that was like
that was
just
like
madness.
yep.
Yeah, insane.
Ugh.
Matt.
So I just had.
I know
it
we had a
and
couple of
and I
going
lost
around.
it.
I just want to do a lightning round or just
So,
anything. Wrestlers, anything doesn't matter.
Yeah, one other. Just going back to since we're talking about Mankind. I remember when he won the WWF title for the first time. It was on Monday Night
Yes.
Raw, and it was one when they used to pre-tape
Tape it.
it.
Yep.
And on
Yep.
Nitro they said spoiler, Mick Foley wins the, and I was like, oh, cool, and I switched.
Yeah.
Because those were the days where it's like
Yeah.
commercial break for one, you
Watch
switch to
the
the
other.
other one,
Yep.
and like this isn't that good, and you go back.
I
And,
remember
like,
that.
I feel like everybody switched
Oh,
over.
I did
Oh, yeah.
that.
to
Tony Schiavone was
I
the one
liked
who
him.
said that. I remember he said, "Yeah, on that other show, Mick Foley's about to win the title. That'll put butts in seats."
Yeah, and
and
it's like, oh.
everyone's like, "We're gonna watch the other
everybody
show."
switched over to that.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I think Goldberg had to wrestle in front of no one watching him on TV. Yeah, there's so many just great wrestling moments. The more you think about it, like they just the more they pop into your brain.
Yeah.
Or like ECW had so many when they like crucified Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah, and they had they crucified the Sandman. They had to
That's right.
apologize about
Yeah,
it.
Is
crucified
that
the
what's is it ECW that I don't know who was wrestling? It was when the crowd started throwing all of the chairs in
Yeah.
the ring.
Yeah.
that
It was Terry Funk.
Yeah.
I think.
That was-
He said like I need a chair.
Chair, and
Somebody
everyone
threw a
just threw
chair,
chair.
and everybody and they had to announce like stop,
Stop throwing
chairs.
chairs.
Yeah, that was they couldn't get
All of that.
killed.
New
yeah.
Jack just murdering people in the ring
Yeah.
because he's a madman.
Absolute
Like,
psychopath.
all of ECW was just one giant moment of ridiculousness.
Yeah.
But that had an attitude too.
It did.
It felt like that was like our last episode with Matt was like that was like the heavy metal of
was,
like wrestling.
yeah.
You know, everyone was like, you had what was it, Taz? You had Rob Van Dam. All
And
these,
that's
tough
what was so
guys,
great
all these
about it.
tough
They
guys.
had like the
You know?
extreme, like the Sandmans and the New Jacks, but then they also had like Rob Van Dam,
Yep.
and like all the Mexican wrestlers,
All
the
the
luchadors
yeah.
and stuff coming in and doing all this crazy shit that like you hadn't
You hadn't
seen
seen anywhere.
before that. Like
Yeah.
that was pre like cruiserweight division in WCW. They got all
Yeah,
those
like
guys
Rey
from
Mysterio
ECW.
started there.
Yeah,
and-
Rey Mysterio and Psychosis.
Yeah.
and
Super
crazy.
Super crazy.
Yeah, there was a lot of
it got to the point where like all those ECW pay-per-views eventually became like just the same it was just like, here's the triple, it's Little Guido versus Super Crazy versus whoever else, but it was always
good,
entertaining.
Always
like, Rob Van
entertaining.
Dam and Jerry Lynn are fighting again, but you know it's going to be
a banger.
it's going to be an
worth
insane
watching.
match
Yeah.
every time.
Or Sabu. I mean, how many times did RVD and Sabu fight?
Wow.
Yeah.
The homicidal, suicidal. It was so great. All those characters. And
Yeah.
I mean, Sandman coming through the crowd was always great.
So one of my personal favorite wrestling moments from it was I went to ECW's Massacre on 34th Street. The last two ECWs were at the Hammerstein Ballroom before they closed down. And I forget what the final match was, but Rhino was involved somehow.
Wow.
And he won the title or whatever it was, whoever he beat. I forget who it was. Sandman was gone for a while. He came back. And when we went to that show, we were supposed to be on the floor. And we got to our seats, and one of our seats was missing. There just wasn't a seat in the row.
Right.
Sounds about
So
right
they're
for
like, oh, we'll
ECW.
find seats for you or whatever. And eventually they were like, oh, we got different seats for you. Follow me. And they put us, if you've ever been to Hammerstein Ballroom, they have these little side boxes where there's maybe like 6 or 7 seats. And we were sitting up there, so we were looking down. And when Sandman came back, he beat the shit out of Rhino and then walked through the crowd and came up into our box.
Oh, awesome.
And to this day, I've never seen the end of this pay-per-view, so I don't know if it ends before that.
Right.
But if it doesn't, and you'll see my stupid ass and my two like 16-year-old friends with the Sandman, and he's like standing arms out, like holding the belt, and it was the coolest fucking thing ever. And just a sidebar for
No, of
my
course.
that's
personal
awesome.
That's awesome,
memories.
man.
Well,
Yeah.
ECW was just filled with those kind of wacky, off-the-wall, crazy moments.
Yeah, and then the next one was the final ECW pay-per-view, and Rob Van Dam was out for a while.
Yeah.
And he came back at that, and
Right.
just the moment that opening riff for
Right.
Pantera's walk hit, the place erupted.
Probably
I've
lost
never
it, yeah.
seen a crowd like that since.
Right,
Unbelievable.
He's maybe one of the most talented wrestlers of all time.
Unbelievable,
Rob Van Dam.
yeah.
He's just incredible to watch. The 5-star frog splash.
Yeah.
The
And
best
just
part about the
jumping
5-star
across
frog
the-
splash is nobody gets as high as Rob Van Dam
Yeah.
every time he does it. So great.
And when he hits it, he hurts himself,
Self?
like he bounces off
Yeah.
of him.
Yeah.
the best frog splash of anyone.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
Eddie's was great, but RVD's was
Yeah,
better.
no,
Oh
unbelievable.
yeah, he's the
Yeah.
absolutely.
And his ring attire is just so cool too. He had like that graffiti, like
yeah, the old
dragons
school
and
like
stuff.
airbrushed
Yeah.
tights,
Yep.
like Rick Rude used to
Yep.
have or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, just oozing personality, man.
Yeah.
And so, like, the athleticism, like jumping across the ring to kick a chair into somebody's face from one side of the ring to the other.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
The Van Daminator.
Yeah.
And then
And
they
the
did
Van
the
Terminator, yeah.
That Shane McMahon wound up stealing and used a trash can for and called it Coast to Coast.
Shane McMahon, for a non-wrestler, he
Does
was a
some wo-
psychopath.
Yeah, he really is.
Jumping off like the Titantron, doing like the
Yeah.
sign of the cross,
Yeah.
and then just jumping.
Diving.
Yeah.
There was no move either. He didn't even. He just jumped off.
Yeah, he
the
just
Titan-
jumped and just fell into shit.
Or when Kurt Angle basically murdered him because they couldn't get the glass to break. when they
Yeah,
were-
that was
they were
crazy.
doing- he
I
was
think
doing the-
I think he broke his tailbone. I think Angle before that,
Yeah.
like right in that same match, and he had to like throw him as hard as he could again.
and he couldn't get the thing to break, and they just kept doing it. Like, once it doesn't break the first time and maybe the second time, you would think we just won't do this anymore.
Right.
He just kept tossing Shane McMahon through a... Like, what kind of glass was this that it wouldn't break? He just kept
He used the
doing it.
real glass instead
Yeah.
of the stage glass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy.
I think I don't know if it's like, it's not really a positive moment, but I think the finger poke of doom.
Oh, I remember that.
I remember that was just like, I was like, no. I think that was like a big turning point because I think that was
Yeah.
after that. You know,
WWE.
Yeah, that was like, like WCW was like that. They were like, at
They were
that
done.
Point, yeah, and then I never liked when WWF turned to WWE. I feel like they lost their balls.
They got the F out.
Yeah.
That was
they-
the shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
will
definitely
say
got something out of it. and
One of the
that's a good
best
thing.
moments, though, of all time is when Vince buys WCW. That whole episode, and he just fires Jarrett backstage. He's like, "Oh, look, it's Jeff Jarrett. He's fired." Like, it was just like nothing.
Yep.
I saw something the other day, speaking of Jeff Jarrett, that blew my mind. Do you remember his dumb costume where he had like the...
Yeah, the
Yeah, he like.
Did you know that was supposed to be guitar strings, and he was supposed to look like a guitar?
Wow, I would never guess
I
that.
never would have guessed
God.
that. I saw something online about that the other day. I'm like, never would have guessed that his stupid
No.
thing was supposed to look like a guitar.
what a stupid outfit.
That's
that
why
was.
Vince McMahon fired him when he
Double
bought
J.
WCW. Double J. But that whole thing, and then Shane comes out, the name on the contract says McMahon, but it doesn't say Vince. It's Shane McMahon, and it's just so ridiculous. Man, wrestling was so great. I miss old school wrestling like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe that'd be a good segue to kind of just briefly talk about, I guess the current state of wrestling, guys. Like, is it still good? Look, I don't watch it anymore. I haven't watched it really since, religiously since I was, in high school. That I just, I lost total interest.
I fade in and out.
That's what I do.
Of it.
Yeah.
Like when AEW came out, I was kind of psyched because it was like another promotion, So I thought, and like I started watching it, and like I don't know, it just doesn't. It's probably because I'm my age at this point,
that's a part of it.
And I stopped paying attention for so long, but it has its ups and downs. I think now with social media, I just watch.
I watch
clips.
the clips.
So
That's
I'll
what I
watch
do,
like
too.
Instagram reels of like highlights of whatever, and that gets me by.
That's the same thing I do. I don't think it's definitely not as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
At all. I don't think it's terrible. Like there is some stuff that's really like the match quality and stuff like that. AEW has some guys that do some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Even in WWE they have some guys that are in like NXT that are really good wrestlers and they put on great matches. It just doesn't have the same attitude era. It doesn't have that attitude behind it that makes you want to keep going back. They do have like there's a new guy, LA Knight, and I've seen him. I don't watch the show like you said as much because I watch the clips.
Yeah.
He reminds you of someone that would cut a promo in the Attitude Era. Like he could probably have that same kind of gimmick and that same kind of style.
Is he an AEW guy or
He's a WWE
Oh, okay.
guy. His whole thing is instead of saying he doesn't say what, he says yeah, but the way he does it's very entertaining. Like he has catchphrases and stuff. Like you don't see a lot of catchphrases usually anymore, but he's bringing them back and he goes yeah, like that's one of his catchphrases and it's funny.
Right.
But the show itself isn't built like that anymore, so it doesn't like that style doesn't fit the rest, so it just doesn't.
Yeah.
I almost feel
flow
like
good.
sometimes watching new wrestling, it's obviously that it's staged, but it doesn't seem as like fluid with
Right.
the
No
moves.
way.
It almost seems like they're kind of figuring out
choreographed.
as they go.
Yeah, I wrote that on
Instead
here.
of like pre-planning
Yeah.
it or whatever, it almost seems like sometimes it just
there's
it
that.
seems very stiff sometimes. It
Yeah,
doesn't have the
exactly.
same feel.
Because it's like they're not planning out the whole match; they're just planning out that
Yeah,
spot,
like the big spots.
right? And then the rest is just like
Yeah.
nothing's happening really. It's like punch, punch, punch.
Yeah, it's-
headlock.
right.
Oh, time for a spot. Let's do this cool thing, and then it's nothing again. Yeah,
Right,
I
and,
agree with
and
that.
maybe that got kind of ruined with like some of the Attitude Era with like the big like the TLC matches and stuff
Right.
where it was just big spots and all these things, and they're trying to do that, so they're not focusing on
But
like
that
the
was
actual.
like one match.
Right.
Now you can't do that every match; it gets exhausting.
Yeah.
But I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah, the way to Corey. There's one I think I told PJ about this once before that. It's like looks like they're doing like ninja stuff.
Right.
They're like doing cartwheels and then they both stop at each
And
other.
they pose at each other.
It's
Yeah.
At the end, you're like,
get
"Who is
outta
this?"
here.
Just-
Yeah, it's just not the. It's not the.
It feels
sounds
like
old,
like
but
I feel like it's like now you watch looks like medieval times. You're
Yeah.
like, okay.
yeah, and like
it's not as good.
you know?
It's not as good, but I don't think it's terrible. But it's definitely not as good.
And I feel like WWE is very catered towards like kids
Oh,
and like
yeah.
now
family
it is.
now. It's
Now
not,
it is. Oh, absolutely.
Which was refreshing when AEW came out and they were doing like some of the extreme and like bleeding and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I feel like that it got kind of lost in WWE because
Yeah.
they went too family friendly. I think they need to
Exactly.
not steer away from that because that's
That's where the money
what makes
is.
the
That's
money.
what makes them the money.
But I feel like they would maybe reel some fans back in by kind of
Yeah.
And they
taking
don't.
it-
They need to just let somebody get over organically and make
Yeah.
them the star.
Right.
They didn't set out to make Stone Cold the biggest star in the history of wrestling.
Yeah.
He just had that kind of
he had that one
personality.
saying
yeah,
Austin 316
and it
said I
just
whooped-
it
and-
caught fire,
yeah.
and he became the face of the company and brought the. Now they're trying to manufacture
Yeah.
a star, and
It's-
it doesn't work because if you don't care about him, doesn't matter how much you put them on TV. I'm not going to care.
Yeah,
about
right,
them.
exactly. Yeah.
That's the big thing. They don't let anyone get over. And then if you're the creative team, just watch the show and be like, well, they're cheering for him. Let's make him the star.
Yeah, like let's
Yeah.
push him to
And they don't
do
that.
this. Yeah.
They know ahead of time what they want to do, and they just stay on that path. And I think that's what makes it less fun to watch because it's like
Oh,
you know who's
yeah.
going to win.
Right, exactly.
There's no like surprises. Like you can pick the winner
Yeah, like,
of every
hasn't-
match.
I don't follow it like, but hasn't Roman Reigns been the champion for
like, forever.
But he doesn't like wrestle ever.
Right.
Like
Like once every couple of months, he'll be in the main event. And
yeah.
it's
Meanwhile, like in the Attitude, it was like every Monday
every
night
there was
Yeah,
title
maybe
being
title
defended.
defense.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And it brings like excitement to the show because you could at any time have a new champion.
Yeah, right.
You want to talk about them breaking records? Well, of course he broke the record if you didn't defend the. They just had someone just broke Honky Tonk's Man Intercontinental.
Yeah, I saw
Gunther.
that.
And he's a great wrestler, that guy, but he had like 450 something days as the champion.
Mm-hmm.
But you defended the title in over a year, like
Yeah,
12,
right.
20 times, 12 times. Like
Yeah.
Right.
you're not defending, and of course you're gonna. It doesn't mean anything.
Right, exactly.
Right.
It's not like Santino Marella when he had the honky tonk counter at the end of each thing. The honky tonk man was the Intercontinental
Right.
Champione, and he would like try and build up how he was going to beat it, and it was
Right.
like he would defend the title when he would do that, and then he lost. But you know, it was funny and it was entertaining, and he was defending the title. Now it's just like you win a title and that's it. Sits on your shoulder for 2 years.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, there's because there's no like they don't
yeah.
have guys to put like
Yeah.
in that era. It was like Stone Cold could be the champion, The Rock, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. Like they had
Yeah.
all these guys
That could just
who
be a
could be
star.
the champion at any time. Now it's just like they have a couple guys
Yeah.
and they don't give
Yeah.
certain guys good pushes.
John Cena's the last real star.
Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
the last kind of like organic.
Yeah.
Sort of.
And I think another problem is like they made every title weaker. Like Intercontinental
There's too
title
many-
doesn't mean
Mean
anything
anything.
anymore.
That used to be for,
was used to be
like,
huge.
When I was that to me was like bigger than
Yeah.
because it was guys like Mr. Perfect
Exactly.
Yep.
They-
and Rick Rude.
Exactly.
They were the workhorse of the company.
Yeah,
were in on the big matches.
that title was like always
Yeah.
like
up for grabs.
now it doesn't, like
That doesn't mean anything.
I mean, we're in PJ's store right now, and it has some of it. I hate that belt. And when you have
The
that, there,
spinner, the John Cena spinner.
as soon as I guess I didn't like. The only thing I don't like about Austin was he had his own belt. I think it started to.
Oh, I
take
love
away-
that smoking skull
I think it
belt.
looked cool, but I think it took
I like-
away like the prestige of having a belt. You
Yeah.
needed, like winning
Yeah.
this thing.
There
It
used
only
to just be
works for
times
certain-
where like
yeah.
when Ultimate Warrior was the champion and like the
strap was white or
strap
yellow
was
or
white
green or
what
whatever.
yeah
Right.
that was the only time they changed it. But when they had like when they changed the belt in the Attitude Era to like the blue strap, that was the last like decent looking belt.
Yeah, I think they're just so ugly now. Like,
Yeah, now it's just like the big WWE
Big
logo
Ws,
on it.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's just
fucking
awful.
I,
stupid.
I liked the
Awful.
custom Stone Cold belt with the smoking skull, but like that worked for his character because he had that attitude and he's like, he
Yeah,
had like the fuck the company attitude and
Yeah.
everything, so you could see it work. John Cena didn't need his own custom belt. It was fine when he did it for the U.S. Championship.
Right.
Like I didn't
Right.
care. He had the spinning U.S. They didn't need to do it for the world title. You don't need a custom belt for every single
just-
wrestler. Like
it just looks.
It
they
cheapens
just-
it.
yeah.
exactly. It looks so.
I don't
ugly.
mind when they change out the side plates.
Right.
They do that now.
Oh, they would do that. That's fine. But
They do that now. They have the stupid big W logo, but then the side plates are specific to
Yeah.
the wrestler. I think that's fine because the belt is the same. But I
But
agree.
It
We
looks
don't need.
looks so much prestigious when you
Yeah.
won.
Yeah, it's like the
yeah.
WCW title when they had the nameplate on the
Yeah,
bottom.
Right,
exactly.
Whoever was the
It felt
champion
so
had
Yeah,
the name
yeah,
on
yeah.
it.
It
That
felt
was
like
perfect.
real,
Yeah.
it's like a
Yeah.
status, and
Yeah.
I think there's just like, I don't know why, but when it was the WWE champion, then you had the Intercontinental champion, and there was a European champion, and like a tag team. I don't even count the hardcore, right?
Yeah.
That was a gimmick.
Yeah, that was
But that was it. But now I feel like there's so many. You have
a Raw.
two world titles.
Yeah.
You have a U.S. title. You have an Intercontinental title. There's the NXT belts. There's this belt. There's this belt. Everyone's
like
a champion.
every brand has its own
has its own
Yeah.
set
its
of
own
belts.
set of
But
titles.
now you have like 13 belts running around. So like
Yeah.
everyone's a champion.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah.
You used to have to work to be a champion. Like if you got the opportunity as a wrestler, like even if you won like the European Championship, that was like, oh shit, that's like a stepping stone.
Right.
And then maybe they would build their way up to the Intercontinental, and eventually
Yeah.
maybe they get over. But now it's like you just gotta walk into the arena. You might leave
Yeah,
with a
it's
belt.
like
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
could
hey,
be
you
the
got,
champion.
you
I
got
think-
tights and boots, we'll give you a title.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also because just remind me, I don't like how it's filmed now. There's too many cuts, like camera cuts.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, man, I remember if you look at old footage, just one.
Yeah, just watch the match.
That's it, like one
That might
steady.
be why it kind of looks the way it does
looks
too. Why it
like-
looks
yeah.
so
Yeah.
like kind of not put together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
they're trying to
probably
get-
that.
It's not an action show. I mean,
Right.
obviously it is, but it's really
It's a
more
sport.
storytelling.
It's storytelling, and it's supposed to feel like a sport,
Yeah.
right? Like, we
Right.
know it's not, but if you watch like a boxing thing, it's not like all these random ass cuts.
exactly.
You just watch the ring and
Yeah,
you watch,
and
these,
they might
and they
cue-
might circle around a
Right,
little
exactly,
bit so
to
you
get it
can
better.
see it. But,
Exactly. That's.
but now
stupid.
you're right. They film it like it's a Law and Order or something. Like it's
Right. Yeah.
I'm curious with you guys. I have a proposal.
okay.
If I was my own Vince McMahon, or maybe my own had a lot of money, so I'm thinking to bring the attitude back. I would get like Netflix, right? Mm-hmm. Be only a Netflix. It'd be more for like PG-13.
Yep.
Okay, we're not gonna be dropping F-bombs on there or anything.
Yeah.
But like 2 hours, right? That's it. Live, stream it
Yep.
live. That's it. Have like some kind of. I guess you're starting the show from scratch, you know. So you have like some kind of tournament. You know, get some kind of thing like that. You bring back like hardcore matches. Like nothing like completely off the wall. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, where they're fighting in a Chuck E.
Right.
Cheese because
exactly.
it's a 24-hour
right.
belt
and
or
you
whatever
have
like
a
that.
vibe where it's like I just finished watching Breaking Bad, but you have that kind of vibe where like it's like you played it straight, where you can have some levity in it, but it's played straight, and I think you could have an audience there. So.
Yeah. I think, like, if someone was like, hey, how would you make a successful wrestling company? I would just... It's all about the storytelling, I think. I think it needs to be more adult-oriented, for sure. And I think even necessarily the skills of the wrestlers are less important than the characters.
Yeah, of course.
Nobody watches these shows because they want to watch the
Yeah.
wrestling.
Like Ric Flair, I think he's an awful wrestler.
but
Awesome
he's
on the
so
mic.
entertaining. That,
Yeah, one of the greatest of all time.
Absolutely on the mic,
Easily,
a master.
yeah.
And
A
that's what I
master.
think-
In the ring, horrendous, but
That's what I would do. I would just work on the characters, and then the match itself, you care about the match because you care about the characters. If you don't care about...
Yeah, like there's not. Again, I don't really watch it that much, but there's no like. I always go to Ravishing Rick Rude.
Right.
Was always such a good heel because he would just come in and just trash the audience of whatever
Yeah, yeah.
city he was in.
And
All you
put,
fat, sweaty Kansas City sweat hogs.
What did he have? Like, what's his face? His wife on his pants.
Yeah,
Was it Jake?
I think it might have been. I forget. But yeah, he had somebody's
His
wife
on his pants.
airbrushed
like,
on his pants.
Yeah.
So, but he was
So good.
one of my favorite
And
wrestlers
then,
of
like,
all time.
you know, Val Venus was like the next like incarnation of that kind of
Yeah.
character. And
Yeah.
he was great.
Yeah.
But they don't have characters like that anymore.
or
Now,
even someone like simple like Norman Smiley.
oh yeah, Normana Smiley.
He was
yeah.
funny.
He
You know,
was.
It's like simple. Like come out.
I agree.
Yellow trunks and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, just silly kind of
Yeah.
entertaining.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want it to be entertaining. You want it to be entertaining, and you need... That's what the show is missing, characters.
Yep.
Everyone is trying to make it feel so real now, like they're actual fighters. And
Where it actually feels fun, and inadvertently actually makes it feel more phony.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
You gotta
I think what I would do if I would stop bringing back guys like fucking Goldberg
like
and
Bill Goldberg.
Bill Goldberg?
and
Okay.
Brock Lesnar.
Fuck you, Bill Goldberg.
It's like Vince McMahon. I feel like has this obsession with like these big, giant
Yep.
sort of guys
Yeah.
who don't really have any like charisma or anything like
I
that.
mean, he can bring back Brock Lesnar as many times as he wants, but he's the only one.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
that
like-
guy... You don't have to put the title on him anymore, but he can still go.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, they bring back all these old-time wrestlers, and you're
God.
like, I don't need to see this anymore.
It's like Goldberg's been doing the same thing. I'm just going to trash Goldberg now for the rest of this episode.
Yeah.
He's just been the same. For 20, 30,
Something,
25 years. I remember going to Nitro was at the Coliseum.
Yep.
Nassau Coliseum. And it was a special, like...
5-hour episode.
yeah, they
I was
did
there.
An extra hour.
I was there for that.
And I remember it was Goldberg versus a mystery opponent, and it was when he was undefeated
Yep.
and like whatever.
Right.
And his fucking opponent was Meng.
Ugh.
Like no disrespect to him, but like,
Come on.
come on,
Yeah.
dude, the fuck. Like,
I remember-
really. I remember the Nitro girls
getting
coming at
booed?
just mercilessly booed.
I remember that's my favorite part of that episode because I was there also. And in the beginning, the Nitro Girl comes out and everyone's like, "Oh, cool, Nitro Girls!"
Yeah.
By the end of like this, they filmed like a 5 or 6. It felt like a 6-hour Nitro and a Thunder in like the same
Yeah,
episode.
it was. Ugh.
And by the end of that show, the Nitro Girls came out and everyone was like, "Fuck these bitches! I want to go home."
At one
Right.
point, I remember specifically seeing it on TV. You hear the boos, and one of them just goes like, forget you," like just throws her
Right,
hands up and like
right.
at us like,
I remember that.
Forget you guys.
I went with that show with my dad, and he always laughs about that episode because he was not a wrestling fan. He took me
Right.
because I was his kid and I wanted to
Yeah.
go. And you know, like he was a champ. He sat through all these wrestling events with his kid that he didn't want to be at. But I remember that one was just terrible.
I have a specific memory from that. Also, I was in high school. I was in 9th grade, and one of the security guards at my high school was a wrestling mania. He used to come and just sit at our lunch table and like, I went to ECW the other night. I got hammered.
Right.
New Jack threw stuff into the crowd, and I started smashing myself in the face with an exit sign. We're like, what are you like? Why are you telling us this? You're a fucking crazy person. But he was at this. We were sitting like we had like ringside seats, TV cameras facing us, and he was sitting a couple rows behind us. And this kid, his name was Mike Speranza, He was there with his dad and his little brother, and the security guard from my high school wound up sitting next to them, not knowing, and he just had a giant sign that just said Speranza is gay. And just
my
next
God.
to his kid's dad. And the dad was like, what? And he realized it, and he just like folded it up and like threw it under his seat.
Right.
And that's like my main memory from that, aside from the Nitro Girls
getting destroyed.
Yeah, just everybody hating them.
Oh, it was funny how much they got hated. It was really. I just think back now, they were getting just the most heat of the night. Nitro Girls.
No one had more. It could have been Hulk Hogan could have come out and turned heel again.
It wouldn't
and
have gotten the
he
heat.
wouldn't have got booed as bad as the Nitro Girls did that night.
Right. Well, one of you might get booed because we're doing a pop quiz.
All right.
Oh boy, here we
Here
go.
we go.
So there's 12 questions. Okay.
I feel like I'm
So-
going to get embarrassed on this.
No,
I'm
no,
not
no,
going to
no.
know any of these.
So basically, who answers first, give it to you.
All right.
All right.
Here, so ring the bell. Ding, ding. Okay. Okay. When did the first WrestleMania happen? Like what year?
85.
80. Oh, all right.
Yeah, damn.
I knew it was because I was born 83. I thought it was 84 or
And
85.
it was Hogan and Mr. T versus, I want to say, Piper and Orndorff in the main event.
Yeah, I know
Wow.
it was the tag team was the main event. Okay, nice. Number 2. Okay, it's a Shawn Michaels question.
Okay.
What does HBK actually stand for?
Heartbreak Kid.
Ooh, that was quick.
Oh.
Yeah. The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
What a great gimmick too.
So great.
Yeah.
What a ridiculous theme song too.
Right.
When
Oh,
he was
Was he
sing-
singing it?
Do you remember what it was? Sherry sang
Sherry,
the original
yeah.
one, right?
Wow. Okay, so this takes place in 2005. So John Cena just released a rap album. What's the name of the rap album?
Was it Thugonomics?
No, that's actually a good guess though.
Word Life?
The champ is here. So I have no
I'll give
idea.
you a hint. For those at home, I'm waving my hand in front of my face.
Oh, you
Oh,
can't,
you can't
see me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I give it to Matt. He was close. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, that was after my. I
Yeah.
stopped like. By the time John Cena was like blowing up, I was
Yep.
already kind of out.
Okay. Number 4. Who holds the record for the most victories in the Royal Rumble?
Stone Cold?
Yep.
3,
Ooh.
right?
I didn't have it. I didn't wrote that.
I think it's
I'm sorry.
3.
Okay, this is you have to use your time machine for this
boy.
one. Okay, sort of, you know what I mean. So, MTV had a TV show called Tough Enough. It was
Okay,
like a,
yeah.
like a
Yep.
documentary about. Okay, name the male wrestler who won the first Tough Enough.
Was it Maven?
Yeah.
Yes. Whoa. Okay.
What a.
God.
I
Nice.
Sorry,
remember the
Maven,
girl was Nydia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
didn't have
remember
that.
watching that show, but I remember Maven because
Maven, 'cause it's a stupid
He
name.
actually
just a stupid name, just
Appeared,
a-
He appeared in the Royal Rumble,
Yeah.
and I think he actually eliminated Undertaker.
He did.
which was crazy. That he even that's cool that Undertaker let him have that.
Yeah.
So, okay. Who was Macho Man's girlfriend?
Miss Elizabeth.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then later,
now. I'm
Gorgeous
getting
George
scared.
in WCW.
I'm getting scared.
And he had Sherry for a while, right? When he was
did,
Macho
yeah.
King.
The Macho King.
Okay. There's a wrestler named IRS. What was his name? What did it stand
Erwin
for?
R. Shyster.
Whoa! Nice. Okay. Name the wrestler who was, in fact, Samoan but billed as from Japan.
Yokozuna.
Yep.
Yeah.
I used
Bringing
to
it
that
back
before. I
around.
was like,
Call
this-
back.
This
Yeah.
bastard. Okay. Charles Wright was the Godfather and comma. What other spooky character did he wrestle as?
Papa Shango. Yeah.
Yeah, you said that before. This
Yeah.
guy's coming all the fucking questions. Okay, this is my favorite one. Okay. Dean Malenko was the man of 1,000 holes. But how many holes did Chris Jericho have?
2001.
Yeah.
2004?
Yeah.
Oh wow! I thought it was 1001.
Yeah. And it
he
was
had a list of
armbar.
it, right?
Right. I thought it was. I have 1,004 holes. Yeah, that's how you saw me running around.
And he would sit. He sat in the ring, and it was like 3 segments long, just reading lists. And with everything was an arm.
Oh my god, I think it's a tight score right now.
He
Yep.
called him Stinko Malenko.
Yeah. Okay, what does Triple H stand for?
Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
That fast.
Oh.
My brain doesn't work that fast.
Okay. Now, PJ, you need this to tie.
Okay.
If not, Matt will win.
All right.
Okay,
Here
so
we go.
here we go. Mankind was the first to be awarded the Hardcore Championship. Who did he lose the belt to?
Oh.
Yeah, I tried to.
I can't even remember who else had that aside from Crash Holly,
Yeah.
but it definitely
Was it
wasn't.
Al Snow?
No, that's a good guess though. Like so,
Boss Man?
Mankind. Yes. Wow.
Big Boss
Oh
Man.
wow, Big Boss when he
Yeah.
dressed in
Damn it.
all black.
I
Yeah.
have to think of a
From Cobb County, Georgia. Serving hard time.
Oh crap.
Remember Nails?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was gonna be one of my
With a Z.
questions. Okay.
That was another one where it was like, I was like, is this guy real?
Right,
This
right.
guy really got out of jail when
Right.
Boss Man was a police officer?
Okay.
Fucking stupid.
Okay, who can I'll do my best impersonation. Okay,
Uh-oh.
so you guys just point and whoever says it, name the wrestler. It's basically name the wrestler.
Okay.
This wrestler was telling a story about Macho Man, and he said it's on Joe Rogan, all that kind of stuff. He's like, you got to get bit first. I need no antidote.
Jake the Snake.
Yes, yeah.
When he bit, that was another memory.
Yeah.
That was one that I
Matt
had.
is the winner.
That's the winner.
Raise his
When-
arm. He got
He's
the
the
winner.
champion.
Ding, 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 ding.
Give me the belts, the spinner belt. When we were talking about one that I almost mentioned was when the snake bit Macho Man.
Yeah.
He had him tied in the ropes.
Does it bite his arm?
And he,
Yeah.
bit him a couple times. That was nuts.
But,
Yeah,
but
would
the
never
folks
let
at
that
home
happen.
watch that clip with him telling the story how Macho Man wanted him to get bit by his snake to prove
I
it
do
wasn't
remember
venomous.
that, yeah.
And he's like, I don't want you to take no antidote. Like, he did his voice perfectly, Jake the Snake. He's like, don't take
I've seen that clip.
no
Yeah, that's funny.
medication, no painkillers, no beer. Like, just straight up. He's like, all right, I'll do it right now. But he wanted to get revenge.
Yeah.
He made the snake all riled up.
Yeah.
And that snake wouldn't let go. But
Damien was the snake.
Yeah.
that was
really one of the best heels of all time.
So great.
That's
So
what I'm saying.
great.
Back then, you had
He seemed
Yeah.
so like sinister and just like like
When
a,
he would do like his interview segment, was it the Snake Pit? Whatever
Yeah.
it was. Yeah. it
Yeah,
was-
just man, just like greasy, had the mullet, and that he just looked
I also
like
didn't realize. I didn't know that. I thought that it was just his move, and he made it fit. He invented the DDT, which is crazy. Like he
Yeah.
I did not
invented
know
that
that.
move.
Holy
he
crap.
invented it.
Yeah.
Did
Which
they make?
makes-
Who was it that wanted to take it on like the concrete? And he's like, I'm gonna kill this guy. If I do this,
Oh my god.
he's like, if I do this, he's gonna. Then they
just
did
the,
it.
and the way he like snapped it, like
Yeah.
it-
Yeah.
No one else can do a
Gruesome.
DDT. The
Yeah,
only
no.
person that has a DDT, I think, even close to that is Raven.
yeah,
Raven
he
has
did
a
it
good
well
DDT.
too. Yeah.
He was good. That whole flock, Billy Kidman,
Yeah.
all those cats, that was a great
Yeah.
group. But well done, Matt. That's sensational, man. Damn. That was
Yeah,
a
I
great
thought I
battle.
wasn't going to do that great. I felt like
Great
Yeah,
battle.
that was great.
pretty good.
Old
But,
school wrestling.
But I guess Matt, do your best promo to promote any of your
All right.
businesses, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Windows Down Zine on Instagram. That's my photography page, hardcore punk metal shows. And then I don't know if this is airing after the show, but September 22nd, doing a 40th birthday show with a bunch of local Long Island bands at Amityville Music Hall. So if you're around, come to that. But thanks so much for having me, guys. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for coming. We really appreciate it, and
Yes.
we're gonna be back. So
Yeah, we need a rematch, guys.
Yeah,
We need
rematch.
rematch. He wants you back in the ring.
That's right.
PJ wants you back in the ring.
I'll see you in the night at the Monday.
Phil, we coming for you.
Maybe cut that.
Ladder match in the middle
Yeah.
of the store. We actually have a ladder in here. We can do a ladder.
Oh.
We have a ladder.
And we have a table.
We have a table.
And we have a
and
table.
chair.
And we have chairs.
TLC match right in the store.
Well, guys, we'll see you same time, same table.
Have a good one.
Put you through the table, right?
Hey there, kids. It's your old pal, Uncle PJ here. Hope you enjoyed our second episode with Matt. We had a great time talking about old wrestling shows, and I'm sure he'll be back on the show again sometime soon. In the meantime, tune in next week. Me and Mike will be back, guest free. It's just going to be an old school episode with the two of us. We look forward to seeing you at the Cool Kids lunch table. All right, kids. Have a good one. Make good choices.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. Please visit PJ and Mike's website, coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com for more information. Follow the boys on all social media apps. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.